Welcome to the BankFirst Ranger Hour. Super Talk Mississippi 93.7 Spotlight on Northwest Community College. And you can listen to our live stream at supertalknorthms.com. Just click on the link for the BankFirst Ranger Hour. Now, here's your host, Gary Darby.
Thursday's edition of North Mississippi Spotlight underway. It is 9:07, and we are ready to talk all things Northwest Community College today, powered by BankFirst. What will happen on the program? Carla Malone is going to join us, Instructional Design Coordinator for the college's e-learning department. We have things in the e-learning business that we need to discuss. Carla will be on with us at 9:15, and when we're done, Brian Lentz, Sports Information Director, Northwest, with those participants out in Wyoming in the college national finals and the rodeo. We'll discuss that with Brian, plus getting ready for the fall sports season, all of that coming up. So e-learning and athletics on today's BankFirst Ranger Hour. Carla Malone, Brian Lentz, those are the guests scheduled to be on the program today. So we'll take a small break here, come back with Carla. We'll talk e-learning and Northwest Community College. It's a BankFirst Ranger Hour on your Thursday, June 13.
This hour is everything Northwest. Your connection to Northwest Mississippi Community College and powered by BankFirst. Thanks for joining us on the BankFirst Ranger Hour. Join the conversation now by texting 662-426-1093.
Later on today, this show will be in its podcast form anywhere you find or listen to a podcast. We'll save the recording, send it, get it going, boom, it'll be up for you in case you miss any of the discussion going on today. Second half of the program, Brian Lentz will join in. We'll talk athletics with him. Rodeo participating in the national finals. We got other things happening. But now, kind enough to join us again will be from the college's e-learning department, Instructional Design Coordinator, Carla Malone. Carla, good morning.
Good morning, Gary.
You doing okay?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Things are okay. As we were talking a little bit prior, summertime, maybe did you get a little vacation? Have you had a little time off, or is it constant on the go, so we've got the e-learning situated and ready?
I am preparing some professional development that'll be coming out for our staff in the fall, and I actually take a vacation this coming week.
Good for you. Good for you. Enjoy it and get ready and get prepared for everything. What's the latest, greatest? Tell us about the e-learning department for those that may not be aware of some of the services that you guys do.
E-learning supports all of our online instruction here at Northwest. We provide service for our students in the format of allowing them to take their proctored exams here. Our Senatobia campus is our main proctoring center. We have branched out to our satellite campuses to provide accessibility for proctoring at the DeSoto and the Oxford campus. So for some of our students who those locations are a little bit closer for, instead of them having to drive to Senatobia, they can test at those sites on the days that we do offer testing there. We provide support from when they're having issues in class. Maybe they can't figure out how to access their ebook or just how to navigate campus in general. We provide support for them in that manner. We do have a course for them that pops up on their dashboard when they are an online student called Getting Ranger Ready. And it's like a full-fledged tutorial of resources that will help them as they are journeying on their academic journey for online instruction. So it provides information in there about mental health, how to upload assignments into Canvas. It has information in there about our tutoring platform. So it just has a plethora of resources in there for them to help them as they're navigating new waters sometimes, because we do get a mixture of students, what we call non-traditional, which will be our students that are returning back after a certain number of years. And we know technology could be a little bit scary for those who are uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, there's no doubt you might have to teach this old dog a lot of new tricks if I were to try and go back and do that. I know exactly where you're coming from. I assume you're doing some orientation and things are going on here through the month of June?
Yes, we do have orientation going on campus. We've done the first 3 sessions this week. There will be another session. They're actually at DeSoto doing orientation today, and I think it's at Oxford tomorrow. But there'll be another one here on the Senatobia campus on June 25th, and then again on July 10th and July 17th. I've been covering the tech piece for orientation, just basically giving parents information about laptop specifications for their students who will be coming on campus in the fall. So just making sure that they actually buy a laptop and not a Chromebook, because there's a slight difference between the two. The Chromebook limits students to cloud-based applications. Also making sure that they know that they do not have to purchase Microsoft Office, because students will get that free once they're fully enrolled here at the college. And just giving them tidbits on, making sure that the students check their emails, because that is how instructors communicate with them, making sure that they download the Canvas app so they are aware when instructors send out announcements, so they know what's going on in class in case an emergency comes up and an instructor may have to cancel class for any particular reason, so that they get all of those communications as well.
I'm glad you mentioned things like the difference in Chromebook and laptop, and whether they get the Microsoft Office or whatever it might be. I guess this is an ever-changing business, right? You have to stay on top of everything because e-learning has now become so big after the pandemic. It was growing anyway, but obviously more and more choosing to do things with their computer. I guess this is an hour by hour, got to stay on top of things, isn't it?
Yes, we do have to stay abreast of the different changes, and I do think that COVID kind of gave a lot of people who may have been intimidated by online instruction the confidence that they can complete classes online, which is why I think, we see an uptick in our non-traditional students, because those are going to typically be your people who may have started a degree some years ago and didn't finish and got into the workforce, or they're in the workforce and maybe want to return back to do something else. So online instruction provides that flexibility for them to still maintain a full-time job and attend school, and it gave them their introduction to, I can do this. It's not as overwhelming as I thought it would be.
Carla Malone is with us. The email that Dr. Andrew Dale gives and sends me the guests and talks about what we will discuss a little bit. He bragged a little bit about your speech and what you are doing in orientation sessions. So can you expand a little bit on what you are telling the people? I know you've already broached the subject. You've actually told us a little bit about it, but what is the speech that Carla gives at orientation?
My speech is just making sure that they have all the tech requirements. So if they are buying a laptop, just making sure that it has the minimum specifications, at least the i5 processor, a minimum of 8 gigabytes of RAM, making sure they at least have a minimum of 256 gigabyte hard drive. If they do buy their student a MacBook, that is perfectly fine. Just making sure that they install Google Chrome, because we do use Canvas as our learning management system, and Canvas works a whole lot better in Google Chrome, so making sure that they are aware of that. And then there's also laptops that have what they call an S mode, and that limits you to only being able to install applications that are in the Microsoft Store. So when we do have instructors who use our lockdown browser, which is kind of like a security mechanism for testing, which means once a student logs into the browser, it restricts them from being able to navigate on the internet and go to any other windows. It's kind of a cheating prevention program. And so when they do get the S-Mode laptops, they're unable to install that. So it's kind of a speech on just making sure when parents are going to buy those devices that they're looking at those things so that they buy a laptop that'll be conducive for their student to use here on campus. So when they do start taking classes, they don't run into any frustrations of not being able to install or do anything that the instructor is asking them to do.
Makes a lot of sense. You mentioned the DeSoto and the Oxford campus with the Senatobia. I would assume if there's people, and we have them, in all of the areas where there's a branch of Northwest. If they have questions, it's easy to get the answers, whether they talk with you on the main campus or someone on any of these other branch campuses, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
How's the best way then for them to be in touch? And now maybe we've piqued some interest and they have some questions about their computer or about what they're doing to get ready for what's upcoming for them. What's the best way to get in touch?
They can always contact us here in the e-learning department, or they can reach out to our actual IT department. They'll be able to provide some guidance as well.
Carla, thanks for your time this morning. Enjoy talking with you as always. You have a little nice rest maybe and get ready for what's to come in the fall. Thanks, Carla.
Thank you, Gary.
All right, Carla Malone with us, joining us from the e-learning department and telling us a lot of good things there about what you can use and can't use. You know, as I sit here, we have our normal computers and everything that's going on to run the commercials and the music and the different things and to keep up with, weather and websites and whatever. And I have my own little Chromebook that you mentioned, right? Which would not work in certain e-learning situations now. We just found out. So you need to be prepared for that. And then you have to know all of the other, as she went through, gigabyte this and S that, and there's a lot of information to keep up with. Carla's got it all and can help all of you out, plus any information you need, as she said. Either call the e-learning department or their IT group there on the Northwest campuses. They'll be able to help you with that information and get you ready for your e-learning experience. A lot of people combining and doing those things, whether it's, face-to-face instruction, still seeing, the other students and the people and getting in and enjoying that in-classroom setting while at the same time. Grab a few hours and do the things that you can do on the computer. Maybe, as you said, the non-traditional students still working and doing things, and you can use that e-learning world to help you as well. Good stuff from Carla Malone. 9:25. We're back and going into the world of athletics next. Our friend Brian Lentz joins us on the other side.
Thanks for listening to the BankFirst Ranger Hour, your connection to Northwest Mississippi Community College on SuperTalk Mississippi 93.7 and streaming live at supertalknorthms.com. Just click on the link for the BankFirst Ranger Hour.
Simple things for you to do and keep up with what's going on as we do another Thursday program for you. We thank Carla Malone from eLearning and being on with us, talking with us about that orientation going on the Northwest campuses. If you're looking for information, whether it's the e-learning department, orientation, or whatever in the academic world, I'm going to send you to northwestms.edu. northwestms.edu. We'll talk sports website at the back end of this one, but our friend Brian Lentz is back on. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing good, Gary. How about yourself?
Good. The summertime for you, and we still have sports going on, correct? I mean, I know sometimes you would like a little downtime, but Coach Loomis and the rodeo guy said not so fast. We got to do some stuff in June.
You're right. But you know what? It's a good thing. It is a good thing. And, of course, we've been hammering out the content on social media and the website thanks to Brian Oakley and Matthew Mixon out there doing a outstanding job. I don't think anybody in the college rodeo realm has covered the rodeo this week quite like Northwest has. So that's a testament to their hard work and everything that they've done being out there. I don't know if either one of them have bought a cowboy hat yet, but hopefully I'll see that when they get back.
Oakley and a cowboy hat and the beard, he'd fit right in.
I know, right? But you know what? I don't know. Depending on how big the cowboy hat is, he's a short guy, so I don't know how much that would overshadow.
Oh no, he'd fit right in. Get him some boots. He'll roll. We do need that photo. We need evidence of that one. So tell us what has happened for the guys out in Casper, Wyoming.
Well, it's kind of been a roller coaster week for them just a little bit. I know it's been a tough go in steer wrestling, which is where most of our competitors are. Unfortunately, for those who haven't been keeping up, Will Collier recorded no score in each of his first two goes, and then last night, did get a score of 11.2 seconds, but that wasn't enough to get him into Saturday's championship round. Kent Jordan placed earlier this week, but he got no score last night, so he's unofficially 15th in the average standings, which is a collection of everybody's results, hence the term average. But Christian Cagle has been doing the best job of all in steer wrestling. He had a time of 4.9 seconds last night. His first time earlier in the week was 4.7, and then he had 10.5 in the second round. So he is unofficially at 8th place in the average standings, and he really needs to remain, I believe, in the top 10 to earn a spot in Saturday evening's championship round. Now, the bad news is there's about 24 other riders, or participants, I should say, in steer wrestling that have to go tonight and tomorrow evening. So Cagle's going to be playing the waiting game just a little bit. But, you know, they really have been doing a good job. I mean, you got to remember, all these guys are freshmen. So there's a good chance that they'll be back on the national stage next year, or, you know, if they go on to a 4-year school with their respective programs there. But it's been a really good trajectory for Northwest from having won last year, which was Colby Burgess in bull riding. And then before that, really nobody for almost 10 years in the College National Finals rodeo. So that alone speaks to what Coach Will Loomis has been able to do with this program. And even when the guys have not placed, it's been an entertaining week, to say the least. And they've got a little bit more action to come. We've got a team roper, Lane Moore. He'll be going Friday evening on ESPN Plus. For those who haven't been keeping up, they stream the evening performance rounds on ESPN Plus on the ESPN app. So that starts at 8 p.m. Central Time each night. It's been a pretty entertaining watch, to say the least, and it's been pretty exciting to see all of our Northwest guys representing us on the national stage. So we'll have at least one more person, Lane Moore, going on Friday night, and hopefully Christian Cagle and Lane will both be in the Saturday night championship round.
You know, following some of the other coaches of different sports on social media and whatnot, I enjoyed the fact that I saw several of them posting whether they were at their home or whatever, with a computer up or a television up, and they were watching the members of the rodeo team, and how it doesn't matter what the sport is. You know, we've probably said this a lot. It is a true family there. No matter, you know, if you're a softball player, if you're a football player, or a coach, or if you're trying to wrestle a steer, as some of these guys are, it's a big, huge family just pulling for one another. And, you know, maybe they don't know these guys very well, but they're still wanting to watch them and see them. I found that very, very fun and interesting to see last night.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt. Look, when it comes to Northwest athletics, I mean, it is not unusual at all to see several coaches on campus, even after hours at other athletic events. You know, you'll see some of the football coaches out at baseball. You'll see some of the basketball coaches catching softball, you know, like, and even, of course, soccer early in the year, you see a lot that come out there for that as well. And it really is a true family in Northwest athletics. Like, all the coaches know each other, and not just know each other, but as you said, root for each other, because we are one family here at Northwest. And it's just been a big blessing to see the Rangers competitive on the national level in pretty much every sport, if you really think about it. You know, everywhere from football to baseball to women's soccer to rodeo. I mean, it's all across the board. And there are not many community colleges that can say that, to have all of their sports competing at the national level. We saw it with women's tennis last month in Texas. Several of those girls competing well at the national tournament. Baseball's been there before, softball's been there before, and of course we all know about football and women's soccer here as of late. So, you know, it really is a blessing for me as a sports information director to get to work here and constantly cover not just competitive athletics, but championship winning teams here at Northwest. So it's good seeing all the coaches getting together and watching the rodeo team out there in Wyoming. And, you know, that's a trip that I hope to make next year. But as I mentioned, hopefully Brian and Matthew are having a good time out there doing that for us.
I know schedules are starting to creep out, and we're getting prepared for the fall. What's the next sport that actually gets started?
Well, it's funny. I'm kind of looking at my composite calendar here on the website here at my desk, and really everything cranks up in early August. You have a few exhibitions. The first one that we have on the schedule is actually women's soccer. They go on August 6th to Arkansas State for an exhibition match. And then volleyball later that week, they host an alumni match with some of the former Northwest volleyball players. And then really August 17th, you've got 2 volleyball exhibitions and a women's and men's soccer home doubleheader here at home against National Park. And next thing you know, then football is going to be creeping into the fold on August 29th. So there's a lot going on, and it may be kind of a lull now, as you mentioned, but before you know it, as soon as August hits, we'll just hit the ground running with everything. And that also includes golf. We don't have a golf schedule as of yet, but yeah, I know you've talked to Coach Ryan Brickley since he's been here, and men's and women's golf will officially join the Northwest Athletics family this coming season, so that'll be exciting to add to the fold, not to mention, as we talked about, volleyball and all the other great sports and great offerings on the Northwest campus. So there's always something going on, and there's going to be plenty happening in the fall. To see all the schedules that we have up right now, and we do have most of them online, just go to NWCCRangers.com. You can either look at the composite calendar, as I mentioned, or you can go by sport and look at the schedules there. We don't have rosters just yet for everybody, but that'll come here in the next weeks and months as well as we get closer to the start of the season.
You mentioned volleyball in that discussion there, and we're starting to have more Mississippi schools begin with volleyball. That's got to help a little bit as far as travel is concerned, and I know Coach Burchett and company kind of happy that more Mississippi schools are starting to get into the sport.
Oh, absolutely. It's amazing to see the growth that volleyball has had in this state since for really the last couple of years. Pearl River was the first, and then ICC and Northwest kicked off the same year as well to make 3. And for a while, we were sitting on 3 teams. Northeast joined the fold last fall to bring us to 4. And now we'll have Jones College and Meridian competing this fall, which gives us 6. So for the first time ever, it'll actually be, instead of just Region 23, it'll be the MACCC, because we have to have a minimum 6 participating teams to actually make a conference. And it's not going to stop at 6. There are a couple other schools in the state that I'm kind of drawing a blank on right now, but I have seen that are getting volleyball, or at least in the talks of adding volleyball. So it's going to take off, and it's going to grow. You think about how many of the schools in this state have soccer. I would really anticipate that volleyball is probably going to be joining the status of soccer, and in terms of how many schools actually have volleyball programs, because it is a fast-growing sport, and it's really exciting to kind of start a new tradition in the MACCC of having volleyball as a conference-wide sport. I think that's going to lead to some pretty intense rivalries, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Looking at the football schedule, it looks like all Thursday nighters, and I kind of like the early October, everybody gets a week off.
Well, I'm kind of one of those where I do like the bye week, don't get me wrong, but you think about an NFL bye week or a college bye week, you kind of hope that there's some other college football going on during that time. Personally, I would have liked to seen a few teams at a time get a bye week. That way it's not just everybody. But then again, I'm not the one that makes those decisions across the conference. But regardless, you are right. It is good to have a break in there in the middle of conference play. And I know that's something that our coaches are going to enjoy. And it's going to be a pretty competitive schedule looking across the board. Our non-conference slate included opening up with Pearl River on August 29th here at home and traveling to East Central and to Southwest Mississippi. Neither one of those are easy trips to get to. Southwest, all interstate, but it's about a 4-hour drive. And, of course, East Central, you got to take the winding back roads to get to Decatur. But nonetheless, it's going to be an exciting season for Northwest. They went 7-3 last year, made the playoffs with a very freshman-heavy roster. And I anticipate much of the same success, if not better, this season for Coach Benji Parker's club. And, looking at the schedule, you open conference play right out of the gate with East Mississippi. I know there will be a lot of eyes on that conference game on September 12th. And Northeast as well. You remember that overtime battle last year that decided the second playoff spot out of the North Division, and then we host Holmes for homecoming on October 24th, and that's always a big crowd and a big draw. So, yeah, it's another exciting year on deck, and, of course, I'm kind of looking at this one as well. The last regular season home game's on Halloween night, and it's at ICC. Personally, I kind of wish that one would have been at home because, you know, I'm one of those that likes to do theme nights, and that would have been an awesome theme night to do on the video board and things like that. But it's going to be a good season, and it's going to be a good fall all across the board for football and soccer and all the other sports that we mentioned. And, you know, I'm enjoying the summer break and enjoying some time off, but at the same time, I'm kind of ready to get started and see what we got.
Well, it's about to get here for you. There's no doubt about it. And I know you'll start sneaking me some coaches in on the programs soon as we get closer to the fall. Brian, my friend, we thank you for joining us again today, and hopefully we'll have some of those better results for guys out in Wyoming, and we'll be talking with you as the season gets close.
Oh, yeah, and I would be remiss real quick if I didn't say that my father-in-law, Eddie Cooper, wanted to say hi. I think you remember him from your Grenada days.
Absolutely.
Doing Kirk Academy play-by-play, so I wanted to get that shout-out and work that into this interview. But, yeah, I appreciate you having me on, Gary, and we'll be talking again when we get closer to the fall.
That sounds good. Thanks, Brian.
All righty.
Brian Lentz with us, Sports Information Director, Northwest Community College. Rodeo still going on. And as he mentioned, if you have the ESPN Plus, you can go watch the events and the things that are going on with some of the members still out there. And all of it will be recorded. You can catch all the results as Brian has put them up at NWCCRangers.com. We talked about all the schedules that are out. Soon they'll start to lock in those rosters on some of the sports and things. Those will all be there with the updated stories and everything, plus the camps that are going on. And there's several of those that will go on still throughout the summer months, all at NWCCRangers.com. The show will come to an end as we only get from 9 to 10, Tuesday through Friday, to do what we do. So we'll finish up a Thursday BankFirst Ranger Hour next. Get you prepared for the rest of the day on Super Talk Radio and what discussion we might get into tomorrow.
We're talking Rangers this hour. Thanks for joining us for the BankFirst Ranger Hour. It's a special conversation about Northwest Community College. There's a campus near you, and you can join the conversation by texting to 662-426-1093.
Thanks again to the guests on today's BankFirst Ranger Hour. Carla Malone talking e-learning, Brian Lentz in the sports world. All of that information, again, and maybe you missed some of the show, will be in podcast form anywhere you find those podcasts later on today. We'll have that up and rolling for you. You can learn about e-learning and athletics and how to keep up with all of it, whether it is northwestms.edu or nwccrangers.com. That concludes today's version of our BankFirst Ranger Hour. Carla Malone, Brian Lentz, thanks for being on the show. Next week, Dr. Bostic's going to be on. We'll get into everything in the Heindel Center, from the Leanne Rhymes performance, which is coming up at the end of the month, to the new fall schedule that is out. All of that will be coming your way next week. Already got that scheduled. You already know what's going to happen next Thursday. But thanks for being with us. 426-1093 is the text message line. You can always chime in that way. You know, on X at GDarb65. The Facebook page is North Mississippi Spotlight with Gary Darby. All the ways in the social media world to stay in touch so that I can stay in touch with what's going on in North Mississippi. This program's done. We'll do it again a little bit after 9 o'clock in the morning. Till then, so long.